Good evening and welcome to Family Matters. My name is Edward Kabasa. Tonight we are putting focus on community policing, but a quick amendment which has been made by the PC. He's in studio with us, and it is on citizen participation in security. He says that this conversation has already advanced, and right now Kenyans are more involved in matters security. But the country generally witnessed some of the things which probably bring such matters into the conversation. What role should the citizen play in ensuring that that safety is guaranteed? And of course, a lot is lined up tonight, and we are going to be driving this conversation, and hopefully at the end we shall have demystified some of the issues which have been arising, and also find some differences here and there. What is security and what is crime? What is your role as a citizen? Tonight in studio I am joined by the former PC and the former, should I call you former chair of the Nyumba Kumi initiative, because you refused vehemently.
You'll not be making any mistake. You know, even that piece you are referring to, when you invited me and you said it's family matters.
Yes.
You know, you took me very many years back when I was in uniform. And on arrival in a station, like a province, there are 3 institutions that you first of all check how they are so that you know where to start. One is, how are the citizens organized? Either governmental or non-governmental community. That's one, that institution organized. Number 2, how are the spiritual relations within the province or region? Or the third one, and which excited me when you invited me, is how are the family units functioning? So when you said I come for the family affairs, I got excited. This is good. Let's see what the role of the family is. The family still intact? What role is it playing? How much can it go? Are there areas that the weaknesses have started showing cracks, and how can we seal them? And how do we assign roles on the family unit members so that we do well as a country? So I got excited. So I thank you, Mwananchi Mtukufu. I think we should be able to help one another and raise questions where they can discuss further so that they help the country in a better way.
All right. And of course, Jane Ngatia, counseling psychologist, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Let us get on with the interview. A lot has been happening over the last few weeks. We had the mid-January attack at Riverside. Of course, a lot has been said about it, and the fallout and the aftermath of that, the government moving in, the police making a series of arrests. But what has always come up is the role of the citizens in ensuring that such kind of an attack does not happen, because clearly some of these perpetrators were living among us. What has the Nyumba Kumi achieved, having served in that particular docket for a while?
Thank you. I'll tell you. Nyumba Kumi, as an initiative, is a process, is a culture being introduced in the country. Where are we coming from, Eldred? We are coming from a position where everybody felt earlier on that security is for the KDF, the police, security intelligence. You only need to pick the constitution. That's the thinking which was there. Until Mashujaa Day 2013, where the president, talking as head of state and the head of government, he came out stating security is a joint mandate of every person living in Kenya. He did not even say us citizens. And number 2, he said the first test of that is vigilance. Citizens' vigilance. Everybody's vigilance. And number 3, joining Nyumba Kumi kind of clusters so that you know one another, meaning you now handle security as the owners. The first victims is you, isn't it? You are the first victims. You are the culprits. And number 3, as individuals and in clusters where you are, And that's how we were appointed to come and crusade and mobilize the citizens towards that new cultural direction, that security is for everybody. So you have referred to the one which happened last month here in Nairobi.
Yes.
If you remember, when everything was done, the response was better than we have done in the past. The response now on that attack, criminal attack. Now, and you remember the statement from the president was, we would like to have faster and more coherent partnership between the government, meaning the ministries, departments, and agencies of government, and the citizens. I can't agree with him more. In fact, if there's any legacy which we will quote for a long time, it is getting the citizen to own security as a first line of defense. And it's going to be for long, Edward. In the current manifesto, in June 2017, during the campaign, Jubilee, the statement on security says, in the next 5 years, the government, that is the Jubilee government, will enhance citizen participation through Nyumbakumi initiative and the 290 peace and security committees, meaning the government systems huko chini. So that's where we are. Now, where are we? The citizens know that they ought to participate, the majority of them. The citizens know that they ought to be alert. But the challenge is how. And number two, how will the citizens be organized? Hence, we require security education on a consistent level, and the committee that was chairing, which ended this term, the period that it had been gazetted in October, should be reactivated or get another team, but the crusade must come back and start greeting the citizens just the way wewe unasoma kila Sunday. For so God loved the world that he gave his only because it's that's what we require in order to grill, to have everybody being a true Christian, not kwa mdomo, but acting. Now, this one of Riverside, supposing where that gentleman was staying over there, we had raised the sensitivity, security education adequately. Even when the lady said, mimi ni bibi ya Shabab, Kwisha, that unit, which we were the number that we had given you. You remember the security mantra? The security mantra, you are one of the ones who, we trained the members of the public. We trained 702 between 2016 and the time we are leaving. Yes. Because we knew if you train journalists, the quality and quantity of the public education, quite frankly, publicly, is determined by the quality and quantity of the journalists that you have. So we knew that if we get journalists knowing what ought to be done, they are very, very helpful. I hope you can pick, Edward, and this one, I have not ambushed you. Yesterday, the president coming from Tanzania, he said this, wananchi watukufu, wale watu ambao wanauliza nyinyi mahonge, please know their names and their numbers. Mwambie media. Tomorrow I'm expecting the editorial committees, the ones you normally do, you now take that challenge, all journalists, so that you now create your number where the citizen will be SMSing you, and then you release it. You release it, and you now start knowing that you engage the presidency, you engage his office sana, so that I wish a circular and media council can now come out so that you now be the champions as media houses against corruption. Just imagine if every citizen was fighting corruption, against drugs of abuse. Supposing every citizen is a champion against drug abuse and alcohol and smoking in the wrong places. Supposing counterfeit, every citizen is involved. Counterfeits. You remember those things which are really bothering us? Education, environment, it is the citizen who matter. Hence my telling you, do not remain mark timing on community policy. Come to the citizen, participation in security, and that's where we are.
All right. Ngatia, there is this coordination between families. My family talking to the other family, the engagement is on different levels. But how do you combine the two families in terms of agreeing on issues to do with security? For I know you are not a security expert, but there is some psychological involvement in this, because for us to agree on something, then it means that we must have developed some kind of a relationship.
Yes, a very important question there, Edward. And I would start by saying, whenever there is insecurity in the family, because the family is the smallest unit of even a government, so to speak, because it's the same family members who come out and make the bigger, you know, the Kenyan nation. So what I would like to say is that assurance from the beginning, we are talking about even parents talking to their children about being sensitive of other people's needs and not putting other people at risk of any kind of insecurity. You know, insecurity can also come in terms of what we talk, what we tell other people. If my neighbor keeps on telling me, Jane Gatia, you are so unsafe, you are so insecure, you better not be coming to your house late. I mean, that in itself will create you know, a kind of psychological insecurity, and eventually that will translate into physical insecurity. So very important that we form a foundation at the family level that we are able to coexist. That is a very important element. And knowing that when my neighbor is safe, I am also safe. And when Bwana Kagudi talks about, you know, all of us are responsible, it's a matter of first, am I safe? What am I doing to ensure that my environment is free of insecurity in whichever form? The next step is, how caring am I about my neighbor? Do I care that if I do this, my neighbor will be unsafe? By the way, when we talk of security, we are even talking about small details of what is it I'm doing that is likely to put others at risk. Is it by just putting a roadblock somewhere, you know, a huge stone somewhere, so when they come, they get stubborn and that's it? So we are talking of now the security right from where I live, my environment, and we are also talking about national security. Because things like terrorism, surely, people live with others. And Bwana Kagudi, not to repeat what he has said, has put it forward. People live with us. This is somebody's child. What are parents doing about monitoring the behavior of their children as they grow up? Because this child was brought up in a home. Do I care that I don't see one of my children at home? Where are they? If they work, do I take interest to know whom do they work with? What exactly do they do? Because by the time they divert and then we part ways, and I no longer know what my child is doing, or I don't care to know whom they live with, where they live, and who are their friends, I think that's where we create a gap, and we need to build those bridges. Right. Security is my responsibility, Edward.
PC, there is something that some analysts have decided to come up with. I don't know whether it is a fact or not, that Kenya is possibly facing a homegrown terrorism. These extremists are not recruiting any other Kenyan. They are recruiting good minds, those who have done medicine, those who have done law. They have been taken into this bad culture that is infiltrating ours. What is wrong with the society today? Are parents not playing their role in ensuring that they bring up right children, those who will not be corrupted by the evil minds, as we have been seeing over the years?
Edward, what you are saying is that they recruit the best, as a fact. One time when the committee was doing a training in Eldoret, the dean, there's a local radio called this or something. So when the dean of students in the Moi University heard what we are saying, he came and told me, if I had known what you have now said, what you have taught us, student so-and-so who was in medicine, who was recruited from their campus and taken to Somalia, where he was killed, would not have died, would not have been recruited. They are targeting not Chwala people. They are targeting because we are in war.
So poverty has nothing to do with it?
No. Even the ones who are involved in Garissa, they were doctors, isn't it? Just look at, no. They recruit the best, particularly those in engineering, with the universities, in medicine, because they use them in ICT, because they have a way of using them. They recruit because we are at war. And the war we are in is that the Turkana Fred on radio, he just told me, wala watu PC hawa ni waoga. Why can't they come if they are men, confront other men in the ni waoga? And what they do, ni vita, the hit and run.
Yes.
And remember, the first Secretary General of Al-Shabaab, he said this war, Al-Shabaab, they were thinking they will fight it through 3 fronts. A, where they attack, they cause maximum injury, maximum pain. Number 2, where they hate, they create maximum fear. And number 3, and you forgive me if you are media, using the local gullible media get maximum publicity. So you will find that is what they are continuing to do. And that's why I am appealing to all the media houses, kindly, do not go to the website of Al-Shabaab and pick those kind of acts or training where they show they have the ammunitions which you cannot exhaust. You show very tall people as if they don't recruit the characters that we are seeing, because it's psychological warfare in war. And they are using quite a lot of that. The recruitment is going on. The one who hate us were recruited a couple of years ago when we are still saying, family units, please watch the changes in your children. If you see a change, intolerance, new friends whom you do not understand, locking themselves in a different manner, they are not, they don't want you to know what's going on. Raise the alarm and please state it. You as a parent, as a brother and a sister, you advise them. You are not responsible for that recruitment, but you can help so that particular kid is debriefed and reintegrated to society as a good citizen. What we are saying is this. It's not only Kenya where they are doing it. In fact, the attacks, like the one we had in Nairobi, this is kidogo sana. What they don't do, they don't allow you. You can't report this kind of thing if you're in certain countries, particularly the Middle East. You can't report.
Yes.
They are there daily. You can't dare report. But what we are saying is this. Mwalimu, when the child is in school, you are the parents. Muzazi, when the child is at home away from the school, you are the parent. It is your responsibility for everybody. The universities, we have interacted with all the vice chancellors, the chairman of councils, and we have interacted with them. And we are able to say that let that campaign proceed, continue. We're in the drama festival, trying to bring the same. We're in the music festival, trying to do the same. Let the crusade continue. And if you are a pastor somewhere, a clergy person, please take it as your responsibility. Listen to what Jane is saying and introduce it. Let them talk, because they will recruit under your nose. And remember the security mantra we keep on advocating. Security mantra says, what you see and is odd, say. What you suspect, say. And what you hear, say. And when we are training the manufacturing sector of the Juakali Association of Juakali Associations, they told us the smell matters. Because IED, bombs,
Yes.
inalipuka. It's being fixed by our Juakali people. So we said, always do not refuse the contract, chukua the contract, but kindly report. If your neighbor is making something which you can suspect, please report. And we trained them together with the assigned chiefs in Nairobi, the 164 of them that time, so that they do not see government outside there. They report, and in a fung where you keep quiet, and action is taken in the process. There are some, your viewers need to know, Edward, there are some who now have left. Report they left, so that action is taken. There are some who possibly have come back, like the ones who had come back. Please report so that they are helped. They could be sleepers waiting for instructions when to attack. If you are in a church, you'll see the change of the behavior. Funny behavior. Anything which is odd, please raise your vigilance as a person. Now, look at the clergy within the Muslims. We are asking scholars within the Muslim fraternity, scholars, please call so that they come here and you help demystify some of the questions people ask.
So do you mean that they're silent?
No, I have not seen adequate of them. How many times have I seen imams here? On studios, on TVs, answering very basic questions that Christian asked. A Christian is asking, why do you kill in the name of God? Allah Akbar. Why do you kill in the name of God? How? Does the Quran support that? Then when you say, if you kill one, it's as if you have killed the whole world. Where is the truth? So that the scholars can explain, because the ones who are the worst now are the Christians who have been recruited. But they are given, according to what they tell us, they tell us that they are given very little information. The interpretation, very narrow and very deep. Very narrow, but very deep. To the extent that they now see it is better for me to enjoy being with God. Right. I bring my pleasure forward. But you listen to a scholar explaining, and akwambia, no. That is rubbish. The truth of the matter is this. Please bring them, the Muslim scholars, clergy, let them explain well, so that those Christians who are being recruited because of with very narrow information, they are helped. Now, let's go beyond that. Why are we saying it is for everybody? Because I believe in it. We have tested various ways of involving the citizen. You remember the kiosks which are in Nairobi? You remember the kiosks where they used to man them, which were being done by, I'll not name the people who are doing it, but it's Japanese combat system, where they are manned by the police. They could not work. They can't work in the Republic of Kenya. They will not work. Community policing is started by Mzee Kibaki in Ruai and Ongata Rogai. Again, it can't work. It's the one where Parliament adopted the law. It can't work. Where the OCS is supposed to call a meeting and then they choose who will be doing the community policing. No, it can't work. Because watawawa, you remember the Kwale? Walikuwa na wawa, Mombasa, Mount Elgon, they can't work. Spread these clusters. By the time we left in October, we had 391,000 Nyumbakumi clusters. And it's very simple, Edward. To start a cluster, you don't need a very big meeting. 1, 2, 3, nyumba ile ambao mko karibu hapo, you call Jim, you call your neighbors, you call all of us if you are neighborhood. Then we say, Edward will be our chair. You will be the secretary. The 3 things you will be doing, that committee, you solve problems in the cluster. 2, you prevent problems. And 3, you create partnerships. They could be environmental, they could be cultural, they could be education. You see how simple it is. And those ones, they are autonomous. You don't need to register anywhere else. They are saying, if you look for you, if health wants to immunization anakuja kuangalia, if bora afya anasema kuna jigas huko kijijini, that's the person ni kazi yenu kuita bora afya. Kuna jigas kwa that family, mtoto haedi kwa shule, kuna shida hii, you call the ones whom you require. As simple as that, called citizen participation in security, and security, therefore, you have seen, as she said, is not just crime.
All right. Ngatia, a parent has discovered probably that the son is involved in such crimes, such heinous crimes. Where do you start? Do you speak to your son before reporting, or you report and then you speak to your son? And if it is a matter of having a conversation with your child, what are the boundaries?
Wow, very important, Edward, and a very important observation there you have made. Yes, parents will always understand their children, so long as they show interest in what the child is doing. Actually, interestingly enough, every child expects that the parent will be concerned about what they are doing. They will even ask them. Sometimes children wait to be asked, why are you dressing like this? Why are you bringing this kind of company home? Why are you waking up so late? I mean, why are you not going to work? Why are you not going to college or school? So I think the battle, so to call it, begins with the parent against the child, so that if I find there is different behavior from what I knew, because I actually gave birth to this child, assumingly, even if I adopted, I have understood how my child behaves and how they react to different maybe issues or circumstances. So the first place is to discuss with the child, find out what is going on. Probably they were just waiting. They were not even sure whether they want to be recruited into this or that. But once the parent get concerned, they will open up. Most children, especially, and we are not talking of a very small child, we are talking of probably a teenager, adolescent, even university-going daughters and sons, they will still speak to us. And in most cases, they will want to confide with that parent who shows concern. So once the child opens up, I think it is still my responsibility to find out the best way of helping that child. If that becomes difficult, completely difficult, it is important that I involve someone else whom the child can trust, because the child does not want to be exposed. Neither does the parent want to expose the child to the whole village. Actually, what we want at the end of the day is to solve the problem. If we can keep even most of our problems from court, from police, and solve them at the family level, the better. We will have saved this country that we love a lot of time and a lot of money. So if we try to negotiate, call it even mediation, with someone else whom we can both trust at the family level, the child still becomes difficult, and we have to move fast, because we are talking of probably something that will jeopardize the whole village or the whole estate or even the country. So we can involve the law enforcers, and the child will speak because they know how they do it. And then they'll be handled in the best way possible, so that we are all safe, Edward. We need a safe country.
Kakuthi, are Kenyans forgetting about matters to do with patriotism? Because I remember back in school we used to recite the loyalty pledge. It was at the back of our minds. It was everywhere. I haven't heard anyone recite it. I can't remember the last time I heard anyone recite it. Are we losing that sense of patriotism?
I tell you, two things. There's somebody that you are missing, the one I wanted to come here, who are all members, and I wanted one. The morale was subverted towards the tail end. The morale of that team that I was leading, the morale. I wanted one to come, but he was unfair. He's unwell. And he used, when training, even when you remember the ones that we participated,
Yes.
he used to say, at the family unit level, mzee anafanya security ya kutosha. Did you close that door? Did you close that gate? How about the cattle bomber? You remember those kind of things? Yes. Security is very, very tight and good control.
Yes.
And he establishes, he knows the environment, and therefore he on that level, he does very well. Then you remember there is another one that I am missing here, who is qualified very, very well, that nationhood starts between age 0 and age 6. And the third one is the one who says how countries introduce patriotism and nationhood to their country. We have a problem here, Edward. I can say this on national television without fear. I want somebody to challenge me. We have a weakness because this country has not cultivated a nationhood building policy. The Al-Shabaab, you can very easily see whom they target. These complainants, day in, day out. What President Kennedy was telling them, look at what you can do to your country. Don't keep on looking at what the country. You see them blaming, counter-blame, and the morale, the motivation in Akweda Chini. So a grappling character is a very good market.
But some of them are, you might say that some of them are grumbling because of the things that they see going on in the country. We have issues to do with the corruption. We also have issues to do with bad leadership. Don't you think that this is just too much for Kenyans to take?
I wish you knew how to talk Kikuyu. I would have answered you in Kikuyu.
I was born in Kiambu.
You are good.
So I think I can trace my
No,
roots.
you cannot, because if I tell you Dore Ibagi Onegete, you will not know what I have said. But you see her having very, very loudly. Because what has happened in this country, we overpronounce problems. Let me tell you, Edward, this country is a jam. And I have lived to see it grow. By 1976, when we broke from the East African community, you know, we were a community.
Yes.
The Kenya shilling was at par with the Ugandan shilling, with the Tanzanian shilling. Today, the Kenya currency is a hard currency to the region, isn't it?
Yes.
Meaning that the kind of development that we have come up with, that the education that we have now here you can't compare it. But, and that's why President Museveni would call it the economic powerhouse. That's what he calls Kenya. What am I saying? And I have authority, because as a committee, we tasked the secretariat, and with us we went to the internet. We picked, and I think in junior training, I think we elaborated a little bit. We picked the constitutions of Somalia, the current one, and the 1960, Ethiopia, Southern Sudan, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi. In those countries, you see nationhood in the constitution. You see something else called duties and responsibilities of citizens. What do we see here? I am entitled to house. I'm entitled to food. So, ikikosanakana kidogo makelele. We have this culture. Pull him down, pull her down. It's too strong. Love for the country, when you are reciting that, you remember it was fought because the sins of the one-party state were carried very heavily today, and the attack on that single party, they even forgot why we had the Cold War and what was happening, why the government was behaving like that. We who have been in administration, we tell everybody, never judge an act, a policy, outside of the ones who are promulgating is outside the time it was promulgated, because the reason they were fixing, what they were fixing cannot be the ones which is here. So patriotism is low.
All right. Ngatia, as we wind up, there are those things that need to be inculcated in children, the values of family, even the Constitution. As a citizen, there are values that we ought to uphold. Going forward, how do we approach it in a manner that is going to inculcate values that will be there for a very long time? That no matter what happens, no matter the level of corruption, no matter the level of insecurity, you always remember to put your country first, you always remember to put family first.
Okay. Very important, Edward. I like that one. One, all these problems that we are trying to fight in society and in our country, I believe they can be fought and fought very competently. And we forget about even these stories of corruption. It begins with me. Why can't we parents, I am one of them, and I always like pointing at myself first. We cultivate, we put that culture of honesty, integrity, hard work, teamwork, because we must work as a team, even to fight insecurity in its very basic roots. So we need to help our children, and it's a battle that we all have to fight. Parents, we must pick the ball where we dropped it. I am one of them again. So once we pick the ball, we have to keep on reminding the child that you shall not lie. You don't even try to lie. Do not do the right thing. And you know, funny enough, Edward, human beings are created by their maker with the inbuilt conscience of what is right and what is not right. Even when the Constitution is in place, human beings have a way of knowing whether it is written or not written. It doesn't even have to be law. That when I destroy someone else, when I spoil the environment where we live, because also those are matters of safety, you know, when I get into habits that are going to jeopardize my very existence and the existence of my neighbor, that is wrong. And I don't need a policeman to come around to tell me things like corruption, because also insecurity will hide itself behind corruption, you know, because somebody corrupted to pass where they are not supposed to pass. They corrupted to be in a place where they are not supposed to be, and to make illegal weapons or even to be in possession of them. So even something like corruption, and I believe Bwana Kaguthi would agree with me, it is a matter of personal integrity. Very simple word, but has a lot of weight. So if we were able to cultivate that, teach it in our schools, I don't see what is difficult about even making it an examinable subject. Integrity, hard work, honesty, teamwork, and all that about I must keep myself safe, I must keep my friends safe, and I must mind the business of my country. We are Kenyans, and we are not going to have another country. And this is the country we love, and we must all defend it. And by the way, Edward, lest I forget, things to do with insecurity, they are very serious, starting from my home ground. Because what happens, now speaking as a psychologist, is that when people are insecure, they cannot work. They are in fear. Anxiety levels go up. They go to the offices, they are not sure whether they are safe, whether home is safe, whether getting back to their house is safe. Actually, I'm in this studio because I know that my security is guaranteed. But what if I got kind of like a wind that I'm not safe, even getting out of here or coming in here? I won't show up. I mean, I will not build my nation. And so that chain of insecurity will create stress. Stress will take someone to hospital. We want to reduce the national budget on health. I mean, we don't need all that bed occupancy by people who are depressed, insecure, I mean, stressed because of insecurity, anxiety, and these days we have so many cases of people who are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, something that is started because of thinking how unsafe I am. You see how important it is? People are going to be more sick, but God forbid, I'm not a prophetess of doom, especially from this national platform, this TV. People are going to be sick if we don't do something. And that sickness will affect work. And immediately that happens, we affect development of our country. And people will be so unhappy. And so it's a vicious cycle. Insecurity, it attracts so many other things. So we mind about our security, even our safety. And Edward, next time we come to this platform, we even talk about how people treat their environment. For instance, a very simple example. When I eat a banana, a ripe banana, I do eat ripe ones, and I dispose of the peel on the road, assuming in the city, and somebody steps on it, slips and fall, what is likely to happen? They could get a spinal injury. That is safety. And what comes out of there is fear. What if I walk again and then I'm unsafe, and so on and so forth. So we talk about safety issues, we talk about security, starting from my house to my neighbor, to the road that I use. Actually, we should be more responsible, not throwing things out of the car, and so on. I wish we had the whole night, Edward.
I also wish the same, but we're really pressed for time, PC, and I'm really sorry that we have to wind it up. And of course, these are conversations that will always continue. They will always be with us. I wish we had more time, but my director is really screaming in my ears right now.
That you stop there?
Yes, that we stop there.
But you bring her. I wish I could listen to her a little more. And you added two. You said member loyalty pledge.
Yes.
Get the Minister for Education here. And early childhood development. That's where nationhood starts. Bring them here.
All right. 3,
get somebody from the anti-corruption. They have a document on nationhood so that they put bricks on that. Bring them here. And then you bring her, it will be very, very good.
All right.
We need that education.
Thank you. Jen Gatia, Joseph Kagothi, we do thank you very much. And that does it for us for Family Matters for this week. My name is Edward Kabasa. Have yourself a very wonderful week ahead. Good night.